Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I've had a 1 week break and I'm feeling all nice and refreshed. So I thought I would surprise you with a wonderful deck profile from my friend at Locals who has actually gotten 3rd place. His matchups was Imperial, All Force Digimon, believe it or not, and 2 Blackwall Greymon. He said if there wasn't a 4th round, he probably would have gone 2nd, but he got 3rd place, and I think that's still wonderful, especially with this meta with Blackwall Greymon is reigning. So before we start this deck profile, please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more deck profiles like this one, and more videos on the way. Alright, let's start off with our eggs. First one is the Yokomon. Understandable, if you have a red Tamer, draw 1 card. You can see that we're running a lot of Tamers in this build, and 1 Gurimon, just for that extra draw. Next up, we've got Biyomon. Biyomon almost acts like a Guilmon, where it's like the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Vaccine in its traits. So you have to make sure that most of the cards that you're running are going to be having Vaccine. I feel like it's a little better than Guilmon, because Guilmon just searches for all of its line, whereas you can just search for any of this Digimon in this deck. Then I also add 1 red Tamer and place it at the bottom of your deck in any order. And for such a low play cost, I think it's great. And a good inheritable, if it's on deleted, you have and you have a red Tamer play, you get to gain 1 memory, which is wonderful. This was an interesting choice. This is a promo card Biyomon, which really aren't like that looked upon, but I guess for this deck it works. When this Digimon deletes one of your opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, trigger draw 1. So you can see how much draw power you have just from the inheritables alone, and I think it's really good. Unless you have something that trashes the Digivolution cards, like probably Blue Flare, I think, or Sarai, I should say. Oh no, wait, Sarai's the top 4, but anything that is from blue and trashes the Digivolution cards might hurt this deck a little bit, but I think it's really good. This one was a really interesting tech that he told me on the day when I was versing somebody else and he was right next to me, was that Solomon is actually a Vaccine Digimon. So it can be a floodgate for this deck. You only run 2 because I think you want to be able to see more of your birds, and it's a really good tech. Bearmon. Now we know that Raid is a new ability that has been released for BT11, and it's a really cool effect where you can just swing at an unsuspended Digimon as long as it's around the same level or less. And Bearmon's inheritable is when this Digimon attack target is switched, this Digimon gets 3k, so it gets 3000. It gets more for its power, so it's pretty good. He's really searcher, so he got even the BT1 Digimon, which on play, one of your Digimon gains security attack +1. This Digimon checks 1 additional security attack for the turn. I didn't even remember this card. Like, I've been looking at different sets and different cards, but this is a wonderful tech that you could do because there's an effect that you can use, and it's coming up. Another Birdramon from BT2. You can tell he's done a lot of research for this, you guys. When attacking, if you're attacking the player or security, this Digimon gets 4k DP, so it's already a 7k and it just hits straight away. I think that's really wonderful. And again, it's a Vaccine. Most Birdramons are. I think it's worth just looking up all your old different sets and just making your own bird deck with Marsmon. It's wonderful. Now we got the new Birdramon, which is a blocker. And on deletion, you may play 1 red Tamer with a hand with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. It's actually really, really broken. I feel like it really helped me in pre-release, even though I was failing. It was really good. It was really good. Of course, we gotta run the Grizzlymon with Raid. Raid. When this Digimon attacks, you may switch the target of attack to one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. And I feel like that's just a wonderful kick, because it might be a sacrifice, but you have so many deletion on deletion effects. Sorry if I'm blocking it, I just wanted to have me in the video for a bit. And the inheritable, when this Digimon's attack target is switched, this Digimon gets 3k DP for the turn. So you can imagine if you had this with the Bearmon beforehand as well, you're getting 6k DP in one swing for your Digimon that might be Digivolved on top of these guys. So I think that's really, really wonderful. It's a really good breaker. And considering with Blackwall Greymon, where it's only really in battle that you can hurt it, like getting as much DP as possible is good, but we might not have that problem depending on the restriction. Ooh. Next one, this Grappleomon already has Raid, and the inheritable is when this Digimon's attack target is switched, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. This is mega broken, and I feel like people don't give Grappleomon enough credit. But if there's an all-color Leomon deck one day, a lot of Leomons are going to be very broken. And I would love to see that happen one time. Moving on, this is an interesting tech as well. The Metal Greymon from BT7. On play, and sorry, I chose the Japanese version, I guess, because I'm a weeb. If you have a Tamer in play, gain 2 memory. If you don't have a Tamer in play, you may play a red Tamer from your hand without paying its memory cost. So most red tamers are 3 or 4. So it just shows that you could play both the Digimon and a tamer for that cost. Is kind of worth it. And the inherited effect is when your opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory. So you already gain 2 memory just by having a tamer on the field, and then if it's in an inheritable state, you gain 1 memory just from deleting it, which is possible because of all the DP increase. And of course, if you have a Metal Greymon, you should be running Metal Greymon X Antibody, where it gains security check +1, and also if it has Metal Greymon X Antibody, which probably won't have X Antibody, in its Digivolution cards, the Digimon gets 3 KDP until the end of your opponent's turn. You guys are probably all familiar with it, and I think it's a really nice tech to be able to have at Digivolution costs. Now, of course, we've got one of our boss monsters of the deck, Phoenixmon. When a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, you may activate one of this Digimon's on deletion effects. So, on deletion, you may play 1 red Digimon card with avian, bird, beast, animal, 4 sovereigns, other than sea animal, because I don't know, it's like all about birds, in one of its traits and 3k DP or less from your hand without paying its cost. Now, if you can imagine, we had this Virgimon as well, which could add 4k DP, so you add that to your Phoenixmon if you can give it in, which is really good if you have something that has rush. And then for each red tamer you have in play, add 2000 DP to the maximum DP you can play by this effect. It's actually really broken when you add all of these inheritables up. It's really, really good. I can see why it kind of went up against Blackwall Greymon. The Blackwall Greymon player was the one that was actually featured on this channel that whooped me to bits, and I have that video on my YouTube if you do want to check it out for that battle, you guys. More battles to come. And I find that, like, the fact that he managed to get him with this deck shows his deck's potential. Moving on, we've got Marsmon. Marsmon has the raid effect, but also when digivolving, Blitz. So you can actually blitz on turn, which is really, really good. And then on out turn once per turn, when one of your Digimons attached targeted, switch on suspend this Digimon and gain 1 memory for each red tamer you have in play. So if you have a lot of red tamers in play, it's really broken. You can gain all that memory. It's wonderful. And I think it's really good. Sorry, I keep right-clicking. I'm still getting used to this setup because usually I do physical card deck profiles, but at this time I don't think I have all the cards mentioned that he had, so I think this is the safest bet. And of course, introducing BT11, Crimson Flare. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8000 DP or less, then if you have a red tamer in play, activate one of the on deletion effects of one of your red Digimon with vaccine in its traits. I can see why it does play this on 1 because it can be a bit of a gamble, but if you have a full board, which you can really easily with this deck, you could choose any of the on deletion traits and just nuke them. It's really, really good. 2 Gaia Force, it's a red deck, of course we would be having Gaia Force. Sunrise Buster, because we both have a yellow and red source, so it's wonderful. And you can add another extra tamer in play. And Akiho, a lot of people aren't familiar with this tamer because I believe this is the first set that she's come out. Let me know if I'm wrong, you guys. Sorry if I'm blocking the text, but let me coax you with my wonderful voice. Reveal the top 4 cards of the deck. Add 1 red Digimon card with vaccine. So you can use any of these because each of them have vaccine. Place the rest of the bottom of your deck. When you play a red Digimon with avian, bird, animal, 4 sovereigns other than sea animal in one of its traits, by an effect, by suspending the tamer, this Digimon gains rush. So if you remember with this, you can play on deletion. You can use one of the on deletion effects to actually play a red Digimon card with avian in its traits. So you could play this one, and it could get rushed by Akiho's effect. So you would get 4000 DP, 7000 DP, rush it. It's wonderful. It's really, really good. Of course, Hero's a really good red tamer. It's also a memory tamer, which is wonderful. Like, if you have a level 5 or higher, you can spend this tamer to get 2k DP for the turn. So you can imagine with all the DP that we just mentioned, it's really, really good. And Tai and Kari, because you don't know who you're going to be versing in, like if they have the Omnimon in their security or not. So I think this is a really nice safe bet. And also if you have fewer security cards, you gain 1 memory. If they have 3 or fewer security, you gain 1 memory. It's wonderful. And it's a tamer effect, so it can't be affected by a floodgate. Now, this one's really good. I never thought of adding a bit of a McDonald's mix to the bird deck. I never even thought of playing the bird deck. But I think it's really great to have Tai and Kari, especially if you're unsure of your opponent's TP. In the Ultimate Cup, you probably won't be able to have that problem, consider like, you know, the whole monocolor rule, but I think it's a really good add tech to the deck. This deck was definitely inspired by the DigiDread video that you guys have probably seen, but as you can see, my friend made his own take on it, but I will say that it was inspired by the video. Thank you so much again for allowing me to be able to profile your deck on YouTube as well, friend. Now, without further ado, I'd like to close this video, but like to say that thank you so much for tuning in and for checking it out, and I hope this deck works out for you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Bye, Cubs!